Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael Burhan again, just making sure everything works. I'm doing another live stream. Reason why I'm doing another live stream is because I literally cannot sleep. So I thought we'd turn this into a bit of a Q&A, see how things go, and then go from there, basically. I've got to be up, I had to be up early because I had to come down to my mum's to basically figure out for her her boiler repair because her boiler hasn't been working for the last 4 days, 4 to 5 days, I think. A lot of it's due to the fact that the people who were supposed to be repairing her boiler haven't done so. So it's caused a bit of a dilemma for her. Being an old woman, basically, she lives under a housing association, so the housing association has to repair her boiler and fix whatever problems that she has. The problem being is they are a bunch of procrastinating idiots who, because they've got loads of jobs going on during the winter, they decide what they do when they do it, which doesn't help her very much. It's a very weird thing. I think with like if you lived in the United States or if you live anywhere else, it's kind of it's probably named something else, but you know it is what it is. Um, I want to talk about a few things, tell you channel updates, what I'm going to be doing in terms of content, um, and how things are going to be done on this channel over the next couple of months, and also about things that I'm trying to set up and get done for myself individually, and let you know exactly what I'm doing in terms of my acting and where things are going. So if you're watching this video, awesome. If you're not, why not? Why aren't you watching it? I don't understand why, but we shall see. Right, first thing I want to talk about is I'm trying to resolve some issues with my Blackmagic Cinema camera. Now, the camera's fine; it works like pretty decently. The problem is, I feel like Blackmagic themselves, Blackmagic Design, have kind of lied to consumers with their cameras. Um, this camera, when I originally purchased it, was a 2.5K cinema cam, and I bought it for cheap because the 4K series was coming out at the time. Now we're on, I think, around about 5K in terms of cameras. The problem with this is one, the editing software that's made for it, the Blackmagic Design editing software, kind of bad. I'm not even like in terms of color wheels and stuff. Premiere is probably a far better software for this camera than and After Effects than the Blackmagic's Design's DaVinci Resolve, which they say it's an all-in-one tool. It really isn't, and especially if you have a system that's not up to spec, because the software is ever evolving and it's ever changing. So I've got an 18-55mm lens. Now this lens itself should be fine. It's great for Canons because it's a Canon lens. It's an EF lens, and this is great for like Canon cameras. But for some reason, and I've been working with both because thanks to Trista Bites, if you check her out on YouTube, she did a skit with me on here for the Super Mario Odyssey game. By the way, whoever's viewing this, say hello. Leave a comment and say hello. She did a skit with me, and I was able to do some grading for her for the footage that she sent me. And with the Canon Nightbot, I sit my penis with a knife, and then proceeded the hammer nail one by through the variety of bubbling, blah blah blah. Nice to know, Nightbot, that you're very adventurous with what you do. Says hello before heading to bed. Hey Robert, how's it going, dude? Hope you're watching the new content that I've posted, and it's really early here, so you know this. The whole reason I'm up for this stream today is actually because I have to wait for a boiler repairman to come over. So otherwise, I'd be sleeping too. So continuing about the camera, it's literally in terms of recording and doing what I need to do. I can use Adobe After Effects or Premiere Pro in order to get the same results that you would getting from DaVinci Resolve. It's not that great in terms of because there's tons of different softwares out there, and I think I might do a video one day where we can talk about exactly what types of video editing and grading software there is out there, and what by far is industry standard. Because I know a lot of people use Adobe Premiere and After Effects in terms of their editing and grading because it's a lot easier to use and it's a lot more simplified. A lot of guys who do YouTube, such as Moa, use Sony Vegas. or as it's called now, Magix Vegas, in order to basically do grading and editing. For grading, Vegas is shit. I'm not, there's no go-to on there. There's no catch 22 on there. My Films Nightbots are located in different places. If you want to check them out, I do have a film that's on here. That is a camera Nightbot. Yes, it is. It's a Blackmagic 2.5K cinema cam. So if you're basically like wanna grade or edit, the best software to use for doing that, and I was actually explaining this to Power Metal Gamer recently, that he should be using the Adobe products, because if you're looking for an all-in-one studio, Adobe does it. It is expensive, I'm not gonna lie. When you're paying a monthly subscription for something instead of actually paying for an outright purchasing software, it does get expensive, but it is there for you to basically use and utilize. I used CS6, which I purchased ages ago, and I still have it. So I use that. I don't upgrade. I would rather just stick to what I have. Now, with the Blackmagic, what the problem is currently is that it washes out color extremely badly in comparison to if you're using basically the Canon variations. And for DSLRs, it really should be easy for you to grade, because you don't have, like, unless you've got someone who's extremely experienced. What rig do I have for it? I basically have a normal tripod. I use this for my filming my YouTube stuff. I don't usually use this for shooting films, bits and pieces. It has been used to shoot a film recently, which I'm currently grading to see if I can make it better for the distributors, so they can basically send it to cans if they want to do that. And I've also used it for short films. One of the reasons I purchased this camera to begin with is because of the fact that you can put a solid state drive inside a 2.5 solid state drive. There's only certain solid state drives that work on this. Again, it keeps getting upgraded, but I still feel that there's an issue with this, which I've got to fix. I think a lot of it can be fixed if you have appropriate lenses for the camera and also appropriate lighting. But for Canon, they can do it rather easily. You have one lens. I literally, with Trish's Canon camera, I literally graded that within 10 minutes. With this, it takes hours to grade, because you have to get everything on looking the way that you desired, where most, not so much. So I'm looking to maybe, I might be purchasing a new camera, or maybe downgrading to a Canon, just basically stepping away from the Blackmagic, because I felt like they don't give you enough support. They don't tell you they don't give you any assistance in how to utilize the tools given. They are expert tools, but they're not expertly used for someone like me, who's an all-in-one. I grade my own videos. I basically edit my own videos. I write my own scripts. I do my own routines and sketches and stuff like that. I edit everything myself. So when I'm doing a YouTube video, you have to make sure that if you're going to do something like this, you have to do everything accordingly and do it in such a and encapsulate everything yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And it's annoying when you don't have the appropriate tools to do so. And as I said, the Blackmagic is an expensive camera. I paid, at the time, I think it was like $2,000 for the bloody thing. But it's, at the same time, I felt like it's far too, I wouldn't say it's far too advanced for me, but I feel like there's a lot more I need to do to it to get it to the rate of perfection that I want it at, and the problem is when I shoot and edit, I do so under like the highest settings of this damn camera, and it still doesn't pull off what it should do. And I've seen others who've used it as well, and it's the same thing. It's like literally blackness coming from the camera itself. The grading is poor. The fact that it washes out all the colors in like your face and your body. It's not like the way I'm doing it here, where I'm streaming via a phone and I can see all the colors. Like, in terms of grading, I could grade this within a few minutes, just because the fact that the camera doesn't do what that does. And I understand these are expert film equipment and stuff, so it's all about trial and error in a sense, and that's how I've been kind of managing my channel. So if you've noticed how the videos went from okay quality to kind of vastly better, and the reason being is because I've been using a lot of trial and error. Every time I have an off day, it's usually focused on either playing games or editing and creating. figuring out ways to make things look more beautiful and unique and stylistic in a sense. Um, so you've got that. So if you are an editor in training, if you want to use an easy piece of software, you can probably buy the Magix products for about like 30 to 40 quid. You can get the Pro, and I think, what was it? Down Phoenix did a literally a post on Humble Bundle where they were selling the Magix products for like next to nothing. So you have all that, you have the understanding of what you're doing, and in terms of like producing like YouTube content, I always have an issue when I always watch these how-to videos, how to make the best YouTube video in the world, and this is what you need. Metal Jesus did a video, when it was one of the last videos I viewed on his channel before I unsubbed, and a lot of it was him saying you need like thousands of like dollars worth of lights, and you need rigs, and you need this, and you need this, and you need this, and truthfully you don't. I think the most expensive equipment I have is my camera, and also I'm purchasing a Zoom. For those who don't know, the Zoom is like an audio recording device. I'm doing it to kind of make my videos a lot more professional when I'm interviewing people at local cons and bits and pieces. I'm also going to figure out ways to kind of sort out some lighting issues that I was having, and hopefully make them a lot more clearer and apparent in terms of what I'm doing. You also need a very big hard drive when you're making YouTube content, because every time you create videos, you're always going to go back and forth and basically edit. And when you're using Vegas, for instance, it relies you to have a pretty big base drive. Like if you have Windows, you need like a drive for program files, so like a C drive. So that drive is going to preliminarily be your drive so you can do your editing. There is also issues in terms of rendering. When you render on Vegas, the times are exponentially higher. So I render 4K. If I'm rendering in 4K, the videos will take about anything from, if it's a short 13-minute video, probably 2 to 3 hours. If it's on 30 to 40 minutes, you're looking at 13 hours to anything to 2 days. I've literally at times left my laptop on for 2 days in order to render video quality footage in 4K. And that's 25 frames per second. If you're going to go for the full high 60 frames per second, you're going to basically go extremely like high. So I've got that. Then also you have the basics. Like I've got a green screen, which cost me £10. You've got like the the padding here that basically used for audio and sound quality. That cost me 16 quid. And I also have a microphone I use for narration, which is this one here. It's the newer NW300E, which I basically attach to my laptop, and I use SoundForge in order to do my narrations and stuff. Literally crystal clear quality. You have to make sure if you're going to basically go for a cheap mic, you have to, it's literally got to be like close to your mouth here, as so. And make sure that it has a pop filter on there, and there's no background noises that you can basically get rid of, because it's a pain in the ass. And literally when you're making videos like this, it is a pain in the ass, because a lot of people tend to shit on channels that don't have the quality that the bigger channels have. Like you have a channel that's on 1,000 to 100,000 subscribers, they can actually pay for equipment that they've basically got that's of a higher quality. Say trying to think of off the top of my head, who's Comic Storian. He has the funds to kind of pay for bigger equipment, for wireless mics, for stuff like that he can use. Also for sound editing tools that he can use to help with better sound quality. He also pays for external editors who can edit his footage. For me, I literally have my budget for my channel is whatever I can afford at the time. So if I'm looking for something, I always find a cheap way to do it. So like the mic I'm using right now is a mic that attaches to the iPhone. So this mic here allows me to conduct interviews and stuff via the iPhone. Now I've got the Zoom, I can actually do things a little bit more easier in terms of how I record my sound, because I can record it on an SD card. Everything's recorded in high definition, so you can basically edit and grade and match your sound to the sound that you have coming from the camera, so you don't have to rely on the shitty sound quality of this thing. And the sound quality is shit. I've used so many microphones that don't even take phantom power, and they're still just terrible because of this camera. And a lot of it was because Blackmagic Design basically said, well, the reason behind that is because we don't care. And that's literally what it is. It's like we want the best performance visually. And truthfully, the camera doesn't even give the best performance visually. So going back to budgets and how much money that you have to put into a YouTube channel. So if you're a small channel and you're just starting out on YouTube, your bread and butter is content. And it's not going to be content as in you've got to make something visually stimulating. You just need to put something out that, A, is effective in terms of the research that you've put in. So you don't want to make errors in terms of the content that you make. So say like if I was making a video about comic books and I was doing something on Batman and DC, most of my stuff would have to be on research. So I'd have to research certain aspects of what I'm looking at. If I'm doing something on Dark Knight's Metal, so I'm going to be researching about Dark Knight's Metal, discussing the certain pros and cons of the series and the characters, etc. So when you're doing that, you then basically make the video, you compile the video. Sorry, just gonna, there you go. This was going a bit of a funny direction, so I was trying to test it. So yeah, so you're making a video on Dark Knight's Metal. You want to make sure that everything is accurate, and then when you put it together, you're going to be using like still frames and stuff that allows you to kind of change the variety of your shots. On Vegas, you can do this rather simply, and it's a very good tool for doing like those comic book type of videos anyway. So it's, as someone who's edited before, it's really simple. So when you're doing that, you're basically then have to rely on the research that you've put into for the content that you're making. And once you've made said content, you then basically, depending, I think the easiest video to do would be like a kind of a 10-minute video. So you could do a video and say, I'm going to do a video on Batman Dark Knight's Metal issue 1. You'll do that, you'll talk about that, you'll narrate, or if it's a comic book video, you narrate it. And then you've got to look at copyright. Copyright is a big thing on YouTube because copyright is something that before you upload your video, you have to make sure that you are cleared to show certain elements. So, for instance, if you're doing a video, as I said on the Dark Knight's Metal series, you've got to make sure that you can use certain elements from DC Comics before you basically upload the video. Otherwise, you will get a content ID claim. Content ID claims are a bitch because what happens is once you get a content ID claim on your video, your monetization goes. You are not able to monetize those videos, and the person whose content ID claimed your video will have access to any funds that your video makes. Some people tend to fight back by deleting said videos. Others, they'll file basically a counterclaim saying, no, this is under free use. And you have to also, and I will say, verse yourself on the Digital Millennium, it was a Digital Millennium Act, so DMCA. And the reason, it's a good thing you have that foam on the right side of your head, because when you see something stupid, you feel like, bang, yeah, I agree. And that's kind of the thing when it comes down to this stuff. It's like when you're making these videos and when you get under the DMCA Act, you know exactly what your rights are. So if I'm making a video on Mario can be used under free use, but there's only a certain amount of minutes that basically you're able to use. So say you can use something in terms of Mario for like 2 to 3 minutes, but it has to be transformative. And because it's transformative, and transformative means that it has to go from one frame to the next. So you can use Mario for like 2 minutes, then it jumps to something else. And you're allowed to do this, but you're also allowed to use it in certain ways that if you alter something enough, so you get an image of Mario, but instead of having Mario on it, it's got a R on the fucking hat or something. If you alter it just enough, then you can basically use that image any way you please, as long as you can prove that you've altered it enough to do so. That's why when someone tries to copyright claim something and you can say, no, that's not theirs, you can basically resolve that issue rather quickly and get your channel remonetized and do what you need to do. Most, they'll say like you've gone past that, you've had people copyright claiming. Here's a little issue that a lot of channels face in terms of not just Nintendo, but a lot of people come in and they will copyright claim your shit by saying that they own it. So they'll duplicate your videos, duplicate something that you've done, and they will copyright claim it and put a content ID claim on your video to try and say they own it. This has happened to my friend, one of my best friends, Dave Wade, aka Lawn Boys Post 1979, basically on his channel, where someone copyright claimed his intro. I'm not even lying. They copyright claimed his intro, saying that they owned it. He had to get written permission from the guys who made it, also basically prove that they made it for him specifically, then prove that it's his main channel theme, and then get the claim removed. It was a long process. Before, they used to have this thing where if you made a claim, you would earn money from that person's video. Now, if a dispute goes on, no one makes money. So if Nintendo puts a copyright claim on my video, for instance, for Mario Odyssey, which they have done, I've let them have it. But if they put a copyright ID claim on that video, and I counterclaim and say, no, I own this, it's my work, and it is my work, it's got my fucking beautiful face on it, but it's my work, what they'll basically go back and forth and say, well, Nintendo still say they own it. The money will go into a pot. And after, like, both sides have either agreed with Nintendo, have let go of a claim, or I've basically relented or whatever, they then basically come back to you and go, okay, you've won the claim, you get this pot of money, plus we'll continue to monetize that video onwards. That doesn't work 9 times out of 10 with Nintendo anyway, because Nintendo have tried to shut my channel down before, where they've put out a claim on a video I did. I counterclaimed it and said, look, my voice is on there, it's transformative, the video is mine, it's got my fucking face on it. You know, it has a little tiny piece of their work, it's covered under DMCA regulations, and then they basically put a, they put a mark on my channel. And after putting a mark on my channel, they then tried to shut it down because they went back on the claim and said, well, we're still claiming this, but now you've got an infraction on your channel to say that you, as a content creator, are going to be affected by this for the long term. So my videos went down to 15 minutes. I couldn't upload anything larger than that. I wasn't able to access any of the features that my channel had, and it nearly killed my channel. I fought that claim back because the stupidity of, and I love Nintendo to pieces, but the stupidity of their legal team, which left me banging my freaking, if I had hair, I would have pulled it out on my freaking head. What they basically did is they went back, found out that the frame that they were claiming, which was basically Scribblenauts, they didn't even own. It was owned by Warner Brothers Games, who gave me clearance to put it on there. It was an E3 video. It was way back. So they came back and they brought the channel back online. But what they did was they brought the channel back online, and I wasn't able to monetize my videos. So it went into a whole issue with that as well. So now we've gone past the content ID claim, and we go on to kind of the other parts of what makes your video, like your channel. So say I've started my channel, I understand under DMCA regulations what copyright is, and I know what I can do and what I can't do. Then you want to up your subscriber count. YouTube's algorithm works this way. Unless a video that you put out goes viral, or someone puts it in the search terms that your videos, say like I do a video on horse orgasms, I don't know, and someone puts in, I'm looking for a video for horse orgasms, and your video comes up besides the bigger YouTuber who did like 1 million hits on his video or horse orgasms, your video then gets viewed. So if I have a video that's similar to someone like Logan Paul, for instance, because he's the bigger guy on the channel at the moment, or PewDiePie or Markiplier or someone like that, I'm able to be viewed besides them because they'll say, oh, you've watched this video, you might like this. And then YouTube basically starts going on from there, and it goes on, and you start building up a subscriber base if someone likes your videos. 9 times out of 10, people don't do that anymore. They will not sub a channel that they like if they see one video. And they've got to look at a slew of content from your channel before you basically get subbed. Most of my YouTube subscribers don't come from YouTube exactly. They come from other avenues that I use, such as Facebook or Twitter. So I basically then gain subscribers from them because people like my videos and go, yeah, we'll sub you. Or people who know me from my actor page, Michael Burhan Actor. Cheap plug, by the way. So they'll do that. People start migrating over to your content. You will never get searched, even if you're like the one person that has a video on a certain topic. You will never get searched over the bigger guys. Like, if, say, because I know a few channels that do this, they try to do the YouTube way of thinking, which is if you see something that's popular at the time, you'll make a video on it to try and get some subscribers from the next guy. So say if I'm doing something on politics that Philip DeFranco's doing, I'm going to try and do the same topics that he's doing in hopes that I catch a bit of his basically viewership. And I can see why people do it, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work, because the majority of the time the person who has the most subscribers will be that person who basically gets the lion's share of the viewership. You'll be lucky to have a trickle down effect on that sense, and it's annoying. You can literally compare it to trickle down economics in a sense. It's annoying in that sense because you're trying to get a lion's share of what that guy's doing, but it happens that way. Now, it was also different if a video goes viral. So if a video basically that you do, say I did a video on dogs farting or something like that, I share it, people like it, they start sharing it around to their friends, family, cohorts, work friends, whatever. That video starts to go viral and it starts to trend. YouTube will then, their algorithm works in the way where they will have that video on trending topics. So once the video is on trending topics, you're going to get more viewers, you're going to get more subs, and you'll have a chance to be seen over the bigger channels. And that's usually the way it goes. And the problem is it works the same way as most things on the internet. The bigger you are, the more easier you are to be found. The bigger your channel is, the more easier for your subscribers to find you. The issues that they're having currently are where they're demonetizing people, or they've got a bot system in place which doesn't make any sense. I remember there was a situation recently with Philip DeFranco where he basically does on certain new topics. So he'll talk about a tragedy that happens, shows no dead bodies or anything. Video gets demonetized, but yet you have Conan O'Brien or one of the other news affiliates. They would basically do a video on the same topic. They're not demonetized. They're making money from it, and YouTube says this is because they organize their own ad revenue streams. In my opinion, it's preference, right? So if someone's basically a big news channel and you have an agreement with them and they make loads of money from ads and stuff from their channel and that they have a very good working relationship with you, YouTube finds them preference over a guy like Philip DeFranco, who's a dude like me talking in front of a camera having a conversation about certain news topics. It's the way it is. Is it fucking annoying? Yes, it is. It's really annoying. And to someone who does this, it's kind of, I do it as a hobby in a sense. I do want to make sure that the channel grows and I do want to keep people informed, but I like doing this and it also helps me with my skills and bits and pieces. So, as someone who does this, I do find it really, really annoying that he gets overshadowed by bigger corporations who basically have a working relationship with Google and YouTube. And being someone who's very left-wing, people are like, Google are very left-wing. They really aren't. They go to the highest bidder like everybody else. Like, it's ridiculous. So you have that situation happening, and you have your channel fighting with the other channels, and you've got the bigger guys, basically everyone doing what you're doing. So if you're a Let's Player, you're fighting through a whole slew of Let's Players on YouTube before you even notice. You've got guys like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier. You've got people even like guys who do it part-time, like the Game Theorists. People who do Let's Play channels as a way to kind of get a secondary revenue stream on YouTube. And most of these guys have made deals with YouTube in order to get these channels working, because YouTube are losing a lot of their streamers to Twitch and other platforms. So you have that going on. So as a small channel, you are basically fucked unless you get noticed. And those are the ways to do it. And what I tend to do is I use Facebook, I use Twitter, I use other platforms. I even pay for adverts sometimes. So I'll pay for an advert on YouTube. Don't do a paid advert on Facebook for your YouTube videos, because I guarantee you they will not get seen. Facebook has its own platform. So because they have their own platform, what they do is they make having these YouTube videos there, they won't preview the videos, they won't show the videos off, they won't do anything to get these videos noticed, even if you pay for them to do it. They'll just put an advert of your page, and that the video is like slap dab in the middle, but they won't do anything else with it. You like most people, what they tend to do is they join groups. They join YouTube sharing groups, so you can pop your content there. Some groups are used for content kind of waste groups in a sense, where you just dump your content in there. People will view it if they want to. Some people join sub for sub groups. I don't do that. I'm not privy. I don't do a sub for sub group, and this is the reason why. If I get someone to sub my channel, they will not view the content on my channel, so it's a wasted sub. And two, how do you know if you sub their channel that they're not going to unsub you later on? It's stupid. It's an inane way to have your channel grow, and it's just pathetic in its own way, because your channel is not organically growing. Your whole idea of creating a YouTube channel and having people see your content is so they share it, so it becomes organic. Doing a paid promotion on YouTube, I've done a couple, like for like a $5 or a $10 or something like that. They do pretty good, and usually I can get the video shared, and I usually gain a sub or two out of those. And they're, and it also gets the video out there. And I know a lot of big channels, well, kind of moderate-sized channels, who do sponsored promotions in order to get their videos out to the bigger client base. And now the guidelines on that have kind of gone a bit skewed as well. Like, I had a video recently rejected because they said it had copyrighted content on there, and because it had copyrighted content, they wouldn't promote the video because, again, Nintendo. So you then end up in a situation where you're fighting to kind of climb up this thing. I know some people who use Reddit as a way to promote their YouTube videos, but their policies are extremely strict and confusing. So if you share a video in something that you think, oh, I would love to share this with you, even if you don't feel like that it's like, hey, PMA 077, how's it going? You having a great day? It's early in the morning, isn't it? So if you're basically trying to share your content with Reddit and you're trying to get your stuff out there and, go from there, you've got to look at their rules. I know some people who have managed to create subreddit groups and share their videos on there. Same to you. Thank you, my friend. That's grammatically correct. Thank you. So yeah, you go out there and you basically tried, and I know YouTubers and stuff, they have groups that they do it. Comic Historian has his own Reddit. Comics Explained has his own Reddit. So it depends on how you market yourself to your audience and how things are shared. Then, while you're doing that, say something goes viral and you've got a channel going on, you also got to maintain your audience. I did try that whole YouTube, like 5 videos a week thing to see if it triggers the algorithm. And truthfully, it really didn't work that well for my channel. Like, I was doing vlogs every day. What's your aim for this year? My aim for this year is basically, I'm an actor, so I do a lot of acting and stuff. I've got a feature film that I'm starring in February, and I've also got a stage play that's going to be coming up that I've been cast in, but I'm waiting to hear back about the casting and what's going on. I hope I get it, but we'll see what happens. My aim is to look for more work as an actor. Also to create more content for this channel, because I want to do a lot more reviews. I've got the series A Rather British Review. People seem to like it and migrate towards it. I'm also going to be doing another video soon on the wireless version of this, which is the Cove N100. I'm going to be doing the Cove N200, which is the Bluetooth version, which will allow you to use any gamepad that works with Bluetooth on your Nintendo Switch. So I'm going to do that. I'm also got reviews of some other games coming up that I've got in the pipeline, and I also want to do a lot more user-driven content. So basically my fan base, such as yourself, I want to basically get people in to say, I want you to review this. There's this movie, I want to know your opinion on it. There's this game, I want to know your opinion on it. There's something I want you to talk about. Let's talk about it and do a live stream discussion as we're doing now. And also to make better quality videos and produce content that's driven towards my several loves, like my gaming loves. I want to do more comedic content. I love doing those skits. My Mario skit was very well received, and also the skit that I did recently for Mario Odyssey was very well received as well. Wish you all the best. Thank you, PMA077. So That's my goal in terms of that. So then we've got the we'll go back to the whole channel marketing thing. So you've got a minefield in terms of producing content of YouTube. And yes, there is the Vine way of doing things where you build up an audience and you migrate them over to YouTube and you get a video that goes viral. Your audience basically drives your content and you share, because a lot of this is based on sharing your content and getting your content out there to everybody. And the best way to do it is when people share and share and share and share and share. And that's the only way that you're going to get your channel going as a YouTuber. And it's kind of my thing. One of my goals this year is I want to see if I can hit 1K in terms of subs. And a lot of it is because I want to get my content out to more people, and I want to get more of my gaming stuff out. I want to get more of my movie reviews out, and I want to get more people clicking on that subscribe button, clicking on that bell, and telling me exactly what they like. I also want to do a lot more live streams with I Got Gameplay, and I'm actually thinking, depending on how things go, I might actually do a new show format similar to guys like Yong Ye, who basically talk gaming news throughout the week. But we shall see. It depends on how much time I have in terms of my auditioning and my shooting films and stuff. I'm going to do a lot more film vlogs, stuff driven towards when I'm basically on set. Hopefully going to be sharing it out on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and on here as well, discussing what I've been doing, how I've been doing things, and maybe even like some practices that I've picked up in terms of being an actor. And I find with a lot of these people who now can consider themselves social media experts, none of them have a YouTube channel that has over like 1 million subscribers. Like all the guys that have over 1 mil subs, they're not the guys who are talking and telling you what you can do or how you can do it and sharing their experience and making you pay for all this experience and equipment and ways to socially engage your audience. You usually have these people that you don't know who the fuck they are, don't know where they've come from, but they'll always do a promotion video on Facebook or YouTube or whatever and say, this is how you socially drive your content. This is how you make stuff. This is how you become famous on YouTube. And the truth is, becoming famous on social media is all about luck. If you're someone who has a channel, it's all about luck. You're not going to become famous because you've been sharing your dinner every 5 minutes. You're not going to become famous because you've opened up a YouTube channel and suddenly someone likes your Resident Evil Let's Play. It's basically what content you have, what people latch onto. And the bigger thing about it, it's the same as if you're famous as from like acting and stuff like that. A lot of it is going to become daunting because the stuff that makes you famous is the stuff that people are going to want to see more of. Like PewDiePie. PewDiePie does the same old shtick, and he has to. And the reason why he has to do it is because people want to see it. If he changes himself or changes the format of what he does, people get upset. Angry Video Game Nerd is another one. Another guy, that guy with the glasses, aka the Nostalgia Critic, he again has basically doing something that he finds tired and old in terms of his shtick, but he does it because people share it and people like it and people enjoy what he does. They don't want him to do anything new. And is it sad? Yes, it's freaking sad, because it restricts them creatively. It restricts a lot of guys creatively because they want to do things differently. They want to make content that they're happy with, and just making content for the sake of making it, you end up in a situation such as Angry Joe did, where he was like, I want to take a break. I don't want to do Angry Joe videos anymore. I want to just do stuff that I find like appealing to me. And then people get annoyed with it. And I understand, like, you're his audience. Your audience drives your content. This is not like working on a TV show or working in film where you can make something creatively and the audience may latch on or may not, you know, and it can be an expression. It's not like theater where you can do something and it's avant-garde, you know. When you're doing YouTube, it's user-driven content. Your audience is what drives your content. You're not. And it's annoying because it ends up restricting yourself and restricting your channel, and it turns from more than just creating something to becoming work. It becomes another job. And I'm not bitching, because the thing is, right, these guys do make a lot of money. The high-end ones make a lot of money doing what they do. So more power to them. And I know a lot of them complain and go, well, I'm sick and tired of doing this. Then retire, do something else. Use your YouTube fame to move on to something else. Like, I have to admit, at least I respect Ray William Johnson in a sense, because the guy stopped doing equals free. He retired, well, he kind of retired the show, and he's now focusing on his own stuff. Who do you think who's going to win DLZ year Royal Rumble? Which wrestler's going to come back and make a debut? I think on the Raw side, the promising guy to actually have a good run at the Royal Rumble and win would probably be Finn Balor, because he's got the Balor Club going on at the moment. I think the positioning and what they're doing right now is that they're setting him up to be a power player. I think the whole Vince McMahon having an issue with Finn Balor not being over in that sense. I think he's an old man who basically doesn't understand what wrestling is right now, but I do believe there's a lot of guys like that. I think Meltzer is probably the only guy who gets that wrestling is organically changing into something else, which it always has done. With anything performative, it changes, But I think Finn Balor would be my pick on the Raw side. On the SmackDown side, I would say Shinsuke Nakamura. I think they've screwed the guy so badly, and if they go towards a Shinsuke versus AJ program or Shinsuke versus Kevin Owens program, it's going to be money. So hopefully that will drive the card in terms of that. If you're looking for a sleeper, maybe Baron Corbin, because he seems to be the guy that the WWE like to push, even though he's terrible. Or Braun Strowman. But I'm thinking, if it was me, I would go for Finn Balor or Shinsuke. But that's, and I'd be more confident in Balor because Balor hasn't gotten his rematch yet for the title. But either way, if he doesn't win the Rumble, he still has his rematch. He could literally hold up the fucking show and go, I've got this rematch. You haven't given me this rematch. I deserve my rematch. I'm saying it be said for Owens or anybody else, really. As a wrestling fan, it's really interesting. Have you seen Wrestle Kingdom 12? Wrestle Kingdom 12 was an amazing card, and I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do next. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, by the way. If anybody watches professional wrestling, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, but we shall see. So going back on the YouTube side of things, people make content and they're very, I would say, upset about what's happening in terms of the way that YouTube is changing, but a lot of them are sitting there going, well, if I'm a streamer, then every money I make is off the streams, and what we get from people or Patreons from YouTube and stuff like that. Like anything, I'm a freelancer. My whole career as an actor is freelancing. I make money when I get paid work. That's it. And then I have to make that money last. And I think with people who do these things, they should know, and this is a bit of advice to anybody who's making a ton of money on YouTube and not saving it. Save your money, put it to one side, live off a certain sum, and then the rest, put it in for a rainy day. Because you never know if your channel is going to end up dying at some point. Unless you're fucking Logan Paul or someone like that. Something's going to happen where there's going to be another adpocalypse. And, the CEO of YouTube basically tweeted that she's got her thing on the red button. She was doing a Trump parody. But the fact is, we all know, as smaller channels, she doesn't give a damn about us. She doesn't give a damn about me. She doesn't give a damn about any of the smaller channels out there on YouTube. They don't give a damn about the wrestling channels like Wrestling with Regret or What Culture Wrestling or anything like that, or Cultaholic, who rely solely on their patrons to make those channels work. She doesn't give a crap about us because we're not the ones who make her money. The ones who make her money are the guys that they gave allowances to, like Logan Paul, or the 1 million channels out there who basically make a hell of a lot of money for the platform. Guys like me make nothing for them. I don't make any money. I think the only people who benefit from my videos are the people who copyright claim them. I can't monetize at all. And I am not large enough to sit there and go, hey, you like my content? Here's a Patreon. So I'm doing this off my own back with my own money because I want to make sure that I basically create something that I enjoy and that others enjoy, and share my experiences and my love and my passions with everybody else. And that's kind of my thing on this. So Boogie had a little thing where he said to people that he wants to promote new up and coming channels. I guarantee I've shared my content with guys like Philip DeFranco. I've shared it with Comics Explained, Rob from Comics Explained. I've shared it with Comic Story, and I've shared it with loads of other guys. Every time I've done a video that's applicable to them, none of them see it, none of them care, none of them will share it. And the reason being is unless you're someone who can benefit them, that's all they care about. And the same goes for Boogie as well. I love the guy. I think he's a really inspirational guy. I think he's a very intelligent guy. I think he's a really nice guy. But he doesn't give a crap about the smaller channels like you and me. Anybody, if you start on a platform and you go to a bigger YouTube and say, hey, can you share my stuff? No one's going to share your stuff. No one's going to bother with your channel and the quality. Even if it's high quality, no one's going to care about it. And a lot of the reasons behind it is they see you as competition. They see you as someone, if you're coming up and you're basically like someone they consider a threat, then they're not going to share you. They're not going to care. Like Philip DeFranco, most of the stuff he shares, he's like he has a segment on his channel. I love his content. I think he's a very, really interesting guy and a very good tuber. And I like the fact he's so centered in terms of his political views. He only shares content from channels that have like 100,000 subscribers or more, or 1,000. I think there's probably one time I've seen him share a channel that's basically under that. But that's all he does. And that's what most of these guys do, because at the end of the day, they're going to benefit the middle guy. They're not going to benefit, they don't see people at the bottom of the totem pole. And it's a shame. It's a shame as someone who's a creator, and it's a shame on a platform that should be there to help people grow. Because I was talking to this, and I don't know if, like, I'll use a wrestling terminology in a sense. If you've got a wrestler who's coming up, who you want to make the face of your company, who's not John Cena, right? You're going to want to bring that. Any sane person with common sense is going to sit there and go, this guy's money. So if I basically cater his merchandise, I cater his ability to draw people to my promotion, my brand, this guy is going to make me money. It's the same with an up-and-coming music artist as well. That person is going to be the person you want to bring your brand up. The same goes for YouTubers. If you see a YouTuber that you know is talented, the machine should get behind them. And the machine should help cultivate those channels to generate new audiences and bring out new content. Because right now, most of the content is usually the same thing. You're either YouTube Kids, you're doing comic book readings, you're playing games and Let's Plays. A lot of the specialized content doesn't get a leg weight, especially if you're competing with big news channels and stuff like that as well. Plus, also, you've got that fucking vast headache of people like taking your content for themselves, which we have done when Larry Bundy had his content stolen by Watch Mojo, who I basically have boycotted myself and said that I would never ever watch their stuff. And they laughed at him as well after he actually pointed out that he put a trap in his content in order to stop them from stealing it. So he'd know that they stole his stuff. And they didn't steal the visuals from his content, they stole his script. They literally watched his video and used his video as a point of reference without A, basically crediting him, or B, acknowledging him. And they stole everything from that, all the information that he researched. And being someone who does his own research as well, it's a bitch. It's a bitch when someone steals content from your channel. Like literally going out there and you're like, oh, I've just made this cool video and it's amazing and I've done all my research. Then you find out the next guy has basically used your content in their video. Anita Sarkeesian's guilty of this. She's guilty of stealing people's content, stealing people's Let's Plays, stealing people's information for her own videos. And it got to the point where people got angry and they got upset. And I can understand why. I can understand why, because why are you nicking someone else's content without crediting them or even letting them know? Because it's like watching someone who's the best, like, fucking game designer on the planet, stealing his game and then going, well, my game's better than yours. Well, you've just stolen my game. We've got this issue going on now with assets as well, like where people are just basically buying store-bought assets for Unity and making games using store-bought assets without any changes, without changing anything to look or appear the way that they're supposed to, or to make the games look unique. And Jim Sterling brought this up, and I know Larry doesn't like Jim Sterling a lot of people don't like Jim Sterling. He's pretty open, and he's kind of the guy who's it's his job to rub people the wrong way, which kind of my job as well. I speak my mind, so I will rub everyone the wrong way. So he does that. Basically they use his store-bought assets. People get angry and say, well, you're not actually contributing anything. You're just buying assets of Unity and saying it's a game, like the countless Z games that are out now for mobile and Steam and stuff, because Steam doesn't check anything. And it's a shame. And as someone who's a big fan of gaming, the one thing I found out when doing this and everything else, once you find a passion for something and you're interested in it, you will research the hell out of it. And when you research the hell out of it, you find the dark, seedy underbelly for everything. You find out exactly how wrestling goes, how Vince McMahon and his gang are a boys' club, and the fact that no new wrestlers get over because their writing team has no idea how to book people. You've got stuff in the film and television industry where you find out where hurtful stuff has happened to people. But that's or like the situation with David Yost, where he ended up basically being mistreated because he was gay by Saban's team of people, who apparently they're gone now. They've got a new team of people in place who embrace David Yost. And then it's stuff like that. When you go into the seedy underbelly of things and you figure things out, YouTube's pretty much the same. You see a lot going on, and you see the way that people act and how people deal with fame. You see how channels are maintained. You see how content creators become something from being generally nice people to finding out that they're fucking pervs or pedophiles. It's extremely daunting in its own right, And as someone who's been a part of this for, I think, a good 6 years now, it's wow. It's completely insane. So, is there anything I haven't talked about yet? Is there something I haven't conversed in? So exactly, if you're making a YouTube channel, my advice to you is do not listen to everybody telling you to purchase hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I'll show you now. This is what I use to do this channel. So I say, that's 10 quid, that was 16, right? So you've got a microphone that I paid another £20 for. The mic arms themselves, these things, I paid about £10 for. They're newer mic arms. They're basically £10 for. So then there's this. This is the most expensive thing in the kit. This is around about £2,000 at the time. I think right now you could probably buy this for about £300 to £400. That's how old this is. It's about 5 years old, near enough. So then you have the thing that you use for editing and processing, and I'm going to try and get it without actually having the table fall down. This is the one thing you're going to need, unless you build your own PCs. You can probably build a nice high-spec PC for about 300 to 400 quid. This is what I use for editing. It's my laptop. This is my laptop I use for editing movies. This is what I use for editing YouTube videos. This is what I use for editing and creating my own stuff, building my website, whatever. This laptop is 5 years old. You probably wouldn't even be able to get £1,000 out of this. It's probably about £200-300 for this. But at the time, it was purchased for pretty good money. So it has multiple hard drives on this thing. It has an NVIDIA graphics card that helps in terms of rendering and graphics and bits and pieces. The screen's 15.1 inch and also has the capabilities for rendering 4K and also for updating and creating your stuff. The newer mic plugs into here via the microphone port and also powers via the USB port on the system. It's used regularly. It heats up a damn room. That's how hot this thing gets because it's old, and it gets to the point where I really shouldn't have done that. My back is killing me. That you can basically render and make your videos using that, and that does the lion's share of the job. Once you capture your stuff, once you capture your audio, your footage, whatever, it all goes onto that laptop, and it takes me probably a day to edit, depending on what kind of content I've got. If I'm making a video like my Mario Odyssey video, then you'd basically edit and render via that way. And then once it's rendered, you upload it. The internet connection in the office is pretty good. It's about it's fiber, so for a 4K 13-minute video, it takes about less than 20 minutes to upload. Then it processes. Then you create the thumbnails again via that laptop. I use Photoshop to create my thumbnails, upload the thumbnail, and then I share the video to everybody and anyone who wants to actually view my content. That's pretty much it. And as someone who's done this for a while, the entirety of that kit you could probably buy now for about £700. And you probably could do it cheaper. If you're a live streamer, you could probably get a £400 PC, capture card, and live stream your PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 has its own live stream tools on there anyway. Xbox One, your Switch, whatever you've got. And if you've got an old school capture card, you could probably live stream all your old consoles and bits and pieces too. It's not hard. And the fact where people sit there and go, well, you know, you need expensive equipment and hundreds and thousands of dollars to... No, you don't. You really don't. You don't need to file every single expense on the channel to make a channel work. The channel works depending on how much content you have and how much you engage with your audience. And that's it. I know the big thing right now is to live stream, so most people will live stream in order to communicate and talk with their audience and get things out. But that's fine too. It's all about your branding, it's all about your PR, and it's all about making content that engages. But the YouTube machine is broken. The algorithm is broken, and the way that YouTube basically processes things is broken. The only way that things are going to work again is if a new platform comes in that competes with YouTube, like VidMe did, but then they shut it down because they realized that it costs more money to maintain that platform than it does to actually do anything else with it. So they took their money and run. You don't need to kickstart to start a YouTube channel. I know a few people have done that, and that's stupid. You just need to make sure you have the appropriate equipment and you have the appropriate manpower and hours. And this is the thing. This is the thing that's going to get you as a YouTube person. This will kill you. You have to put time into this. This isn't a part-time job. It's a full-time thing. You want a channel that works, you've got to dedicate full time to it. If you want an acting career that works, you've got to dedicate full time to your acting career. There is no such thing as having a side job and then focusing something on part-time. Like even me, I think I probably would have grown a hell of a lot more if I focused a lot more on my channel, which I don't do. I do as much as I can when I can, and I don't want to put in any more hours than what I've put into the channel itself because of the fact that my acting career is paramount to me. And I think that that's the big thing. And a lot of people just like, well, you can do a few videos every now and then have a social life. YouTube doesn't. Do you think Markiplier or any of these other YouTubers have a social life? They probably don't. They're probably introverts, most of them, to tell you the truth. I know you've got these bro tubers who go out and have parties in LA and shit like that, but a lot of that is due after the fact that they've gained 1 million, 2 million subscribers and stuff. Now, there is a quick way to do it. There is a quick way to garner attention and garner people, and that's making videos and shit-talking people, because I've done that a couple of times. I did a few videos talking about other YouTubers like Alpha Omega Sin, did a video talking about Angry Joe, did one on Metal Jesus Rocks, and people were getting angry and frustrated with me, but it was garnering views, it was garnering attention, and people were subbing, those who agreed with me, and people who didn't were still giving me views. And I refused to do that and continue that because there was stuff that I wanted to talk about at the time that was applicable at the time, but I don't consider it something that I want to do full time because I'm not Keemstar, and I'm not someone who makes content out of drama, because eventually drama dries up. Eventually you've got to make up drama in order to keep the drama going, and you've got to basically keep pushing and pursuing people in order to make these videos. And you know, I can always talk about a certain situation that happens, but people thrive on it. It's like it's this weird reality television culture, isn't it? Where everyone thrives on watching someone fall, or watching their favorite guy beat up someone else's favorite guy, or watching someone break someone's mobile phone, or someone get aggressive, or someone get theirs. Because there is a load of jealousy when it comes to these sort of things, isn't there? Like, oh, this guy's making a million, fucking millions of dollars, and they've got millions of subs, and I hate the fact they're making so much money, so I want to see them fall. But all that does is make you part of the problem. But that is a way. If you want to cause drama and talk shit about people, then do that. You'll probably get like 100,000 subs out of doing that sort of thing. That's not me. I can't do that sort of thing. And it irks me as not just as a human being, but as someone who I'm very much an idealist. I believe in people. I believe everybody can do something good. I believe everyone can do something great. And I believe everyone eventually has this nice human being in them, even when they act shitty to everybody else. And that's kind of my flaw, because this year I've fallen out with well, not this year, last year, I fell out with a load of people. A load of people that they were really good human beings and very nice human beings who end up being toxic, talking behind one another's backs, talking behind everybody else's backs, talking behind my back, to the point where I had one of them come up to me and ask me to do a mates rates graphics design thing for them, and I said, and I said to them I'll charge them fully, but would still go behind my back and talk shit, and it's not worth it. Toxicity and having toxic people around you doesn't help you in the long run. All it does, and I suffer from anxiety and depression, right? All toxic does is it brings these people out, and all they do is they want to basically make your life a living hell and make everybody else's life a living hell. They want to talk shit about the next guy and then the next guy. They want to basically make sure that you're feeling down and depressed. They want to do things and say things and then have no accountability for. It's like having loads of Logan Pauls in your life. It's not worth it, because all they benefit is themselves, because they manipulate you. They're narcissistic in their approach. They are very aggressive in the way that they do things. They manipulate. And I've come to terms with that because I felt like I've grown as a person over the last year or so. It took me ending up in a jail cell for 2 days, being arrested for something I didn't do, based on a stupid allegation by stupid individuals who basically knew that the law was on their side. And then once I was out of the holding cell, I sat there and went, what is the point? And these people never gave a damn. They never fucking wondered where I was. They didn't give a shit what I was doing. All they sat there and went, oh, we didn't know. We just thought you were offline. Nobody cared. And that's the problem. If someone doesn't give a shit about you or your feelings or give a shit about you as a person, then they aren't worth your time. If someone doesn't give a monkeys about who you are, then they're not worth your time. All they care about is themselves and their drinking habits and their retro pies and all this other shit that they give a shit about, and hopefully growing their YouTube channel because they play this whole nice guy facade. They don't give a crap about you. So it's up to you to give a crap about yourself and to take your life in your own hands and do what's right for you. That's the best advice I can give anyone. And it's the advice that I've been going by. Like, one of the things that I'm doing in 2018 is, once this movie's done, once things have sorted out and I know what direction my career is going in, there's 2 things I want to do this year. One, I want to move, because currently I have an office, but I don't have a home. So I want to find somewhere I can call home. So there are 2 places that I've been looking at the moment. Currently in motion with sorting out a Canadian visa. So I'm thinking about going to Canada, seeing how the film and TV division is over there. I'm also trying to look at the way that things are in the UK, see how I can progress here as an actor here, and also the US. And I know I've currently applied for the diversity visa. For most people who don't know what that is, it allows you to go into kind of a lottery system and plays on the whole idea of basically, if you are one of the fortunate, then you get a open green card to the United States. You can live, you can stay, you can work. That's it. And for a lot of people, just like, well, that brings in terrorists and all that stuff. Well, think about it. The fact is, you've had a lot of people who've changed their lives based on that. And I think this is going to be the last year for it. I don't think they're going to do it again. At latter 2018, it's not going to happen. So there's that. There's also Canada, which is a lot easier to get into because I'm a British citizen, firstly. And secondly, because they have a very high and active film division going on over there as well. So I'm looking at that, seeing how that goes. But the UK, this country itself I don't consider it my home. I consider it a place where I live and stay, and a place where I do my acting and where I work, and where I've learned so many life lessons. Because you've got to learn life lessons, don't you? Like when you're working in something, you have to learn a life lesson or two. I find in terms of society, we don't learn life lessons very much. We make the same mistakes. And I know people are just like, well, I always give you advice and you don't take my advice. Usually it's not someone taking your advice that gets them from point A to point B. It's usually them going out there, experiencing something, and ending up learning life lessons from it. I think a wise man once said, there is no failure, there is a life lesson. It's what you learn, it's what you're taught, it's what you experience. And that's the truth. So you've got to figure out where you need to go, where you need to be. If you're upset with something and you don't feel that you're going anywhere somewhere, you need to change it. And I know it's easier said than done, because a lot of things cost, there's two things that life costs: money, time. So you've got to put the time in order to get the money. And when you get the money and you're doing okay, you're not socializing, so you feel down. And a lot of people, and as humans, we like to socialize with other humans. So we feel really bad that we're alienating our friends, that we're alienating family members, that we're basically not dealing with life as it goes. And it gets depressing. And it does. It gets depressing to the point where we don't know what else we can do with ourselves. And it's annoying in a sense. And as someone who suffers from anxiety and depression, and someone who's also dealt with suicide, I tried to hang myself once. A lot of people know that, who are close to me, know about that situation. I don't hide it. It's my life lesson. I've learned from it. I went through a bit of a bad time. I had tons of allegations going my way. I had an ex-partner who was manipulating, to say the least, to the point where she was my ex-fiance. She was seeing someone else while she was with me, and then decided to dump me when things got good with him, and lied about it, and then told everybody that I was abusive, because that's what you do. When you're not accountable for yourself, you tell everybody else that another person that they're the result of your problems and they're a bad person, because that's the way to do it. So you go from something like, oh, it's the happiest moment of my life, to I want to be with that dude now. A lot of people aren't truthful anymore, not with themselves, not with others, and it's sad. It is sad, to say the least. As someone I try to be as truthful as possible in terms of my life, in terms of what I deal with. I'm very honest about who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I always say things and do things accordingly, and I try to have a moral compass, and I try to be honest about who I am. And it gets to you sometimes, because a lot of people don't want that. People don't want to be friends with someone who's honest, or someone who has gone through the fucking trenches. They don't want to be friends with someone who's negative about certain situations. If I disagree with you on religion, certain people who are Christian or Muslim or whatever religion they are, they don't want to hear it. And so you have to silence yourself. Or if certain people are being toxic and talking behind someone else's back, they either want you to do the same thing, and if you say, no, that's not right, then you get shunned out. And it's about learning and living those life lessons, and learning who you are as a person, because that's all you can do. Because if you don't learn, then there's nothing else there. You'll be stuck in the same rut for the rest of your life. And that's kind of the one thing that I don't want to do. I don't want to be in the same rut forever, focusing on the negatives. I want to try and. I, this is the thing. I don't want to fake positivity because I know there's people like, well, if you fake positive, then eventually you'll be positive. It's like if you fake that you're an Academy Award-winning actor, then you're going to be an Academy Award-winning actor. No, everything takes hard work. Life takes hard work. Who you are takes hard work. Dealing with your own depressions and anxieties and dealing with people takes hard work. The problem being is there's a lot more people who need that compassion and appreciation and love than there are those who just want to stay in their bubbles. When you hear people make excuses like, well, if it's not affecting my family or me, then it's, there's nothing to do with me. Or if it's not affecting my home and what I do, then it's nothing to do with me. If it's not affecting my little bubble, then it's nothing to do with me. It's everything is to do with everyone, and it's sad, that we go through, because that's the thing. You might matter to somebody, you might matter to your friends, your family, whatever, right? But in the grand scheme of things, you don't matter to those who are powerful, who are rich, who basically have like you see billionaires, like the head of Amazon is set to make 15.1 billion, and you've got drivers working 50 to 60 hours, fucking ended up nearly dead at some point because they are the grunt work. You've got the owner of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, who makes money selling your personal information to cultivate and make ads, and basically buying an island. And I get it. I get that the only person who's gonna change your situation is you. And the only person who's gonna matter is you to you and to the ones who love you. Just don't suffer in silence, is what I'm saying. And if you need to change your environment and get away from the toxicity, make plans. Try and see if you can get some help. And do what you need to do to get away from it. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I love my family. My mum is the most amazing human being on the planet. Both my brothers have been amazing to me. But there are a lot of things, a lot of issues, and a lot of people that I have to deal with in life that I just don't want to deal with anymore. Like manipulation, anger, aggression. I can give you eventually I probably will tell the story of it, but I could tell a big story about people in my life who have just done nothing but take, and try and make me suffer. I've had those who looked at me and said, well, he's a nice guy. That's got to be fake. There's got to be something under there. Something that makes him who he is. I've had those who have been closet racists. Those two. And it's sad. I know where you've got some people who sit there and go, racism doesn't exist. It does exist. Racism stems from not understanding culture and not understanding the individual and not understanding who the person is just because of the color of their skin. That makes them different, and that makes them the most disgusting individual and scariest individual on the planet. And you know what? That's not the case. Everyone is equal. Everyone is beautiful. We have different cultures. We have different aspects of who we are that make us who we are. And it's a shame seeing so many people just not want to reach out and be friends with one another because they're trans, or because they're gay, or because they're black, or because they're freaking Italian or Caribbean or whatever the fuck they are. And that's not the way it should be. And I think as a world, I believe we'll get there in the end. There's hope. I always have hope. That's the one thing about me. I hope for everything. And I think we should. Imagine if the world was such a nice place that everybody would get along and that everybody had the right to live and contribute and help one another instead of people being scared because idiots are going around blowing shit up, causing drama, selling guns, causing harm, hurting children, and then sit there and go, well, the problem is it's that guy. Well, that took a really weird turn, didn't it? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm done now for the live stream. I've been rattling on for over an hour. I usually do this. I always rattle on for over an hour and talk and discuss things. If there's anything else that you guys want to put down in the comment section below, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, please. If you do love my content, make sure you give that a clickety-clackety like. And if there's more live streams and stuff you want to see, leave a discussion. I've got a discussion section of the channel. Leave a discussion on there, or add me on Facebook, facebook.com/Michael Burhan Actor, or Twitter, Michael Burhan. Also on Instagram as Enigma Mike, so you can add me on those platforms as well. I'm now going to go and lay down and watch some Friends for a bit before this boiler guy comes, so I can deal with my mum's stuff and then get things rolling. To each and every one of you, if there's a question that you will quickly want to ask me a quick question before I go. Otherwise, I'm going to skedaddle. As I said, I'm free, so I'm going to be doing a few more live streams before I start this movie. Hopefully, it's going to be on the 27th of January, so I'm going to be doing more live streams. I'm going to be trying to make some more game reviews and more film stuff and discussion. I'm working on something at the moment. Hi. What's your name? It's Renee. Hi, Renee. How are you doing? Are you having a good day? Make sure you like and sub, Renee. But yes. Is there any question that you would like to ask me, Renee? Is there anything you want to talk about? I'd love to hear from you and hear what you'd like to say, especially because you're new to the channel. My name is Michael Burhan. Getting ready for work. Oh, you're getting ready for work. What do you work as? Do you work as anything interesting? I would love to know. Make sure you give me a like and sub to the channel, see my other content. I do gaming stuff. I do film and television stuff. I'm an actor myself. And I also am an active presence on Facebook as well. If you want to add me, facebook.com/Michael Burhan Actor. Come and support, of course. And we can talk. And I do more live streams like this. I own my own bistro. Where are you from in England? I'm from London. I live in South London. So I'm close to like Westminster, Waterloo, and other places, London Bridge. It's literally a stone's throw away. I can literally ride my bike to those places. Midlands, me. Ooh, Midlands. So how's the bistro business going? What do you do with your bistro? I'd love to know what exactly you do. What exactly you make? Do you do like, are you a cook there, or do you manage the place and have your own people, like such as servers and bits and pieces? Because it's very interesting. I love to hear from people who have success stories. And it seems like you have a very good success story in terms of what you do. I do everything. Wow. Well, you know, more power to you. How long is it kind of one of those 9 to 5 businesses, or do you work all hours and try and set everything up for the next day? Because it's, you know, bistros are, it's very interesting, especially with the culture we're in at the moment, because you have all these families and stuff. There's loads of coffee shops near my office right now where people come in and they basically they get their food, their muffins and bits and pieces from there. So that's really, really interesting, and it's good to see, you know, to see someone actually have their own business and shape their life. Is this something that you wanted to do? Hey, Skip Rogers, 9 to 3, from winter to summer, 7 to 6. Wow. Well, I have to admit, that is amazing. Hey, Nicole, how you doing, precious? How are you? Speaking of inspirational YouTubers, there we go. We've got another person here. But that's good. That is very, very good, Renee, that you've got a nice little bistro that you're working in and that you're making work. It's nice. How do you own the building that it's in, or do you rent? Because that must be a freaking insane. Like, I know a lot of businesses now go digital because of the fact that the cost of rent, electricity, You know, the cost of heating is extreme. I've got a friend of mine who actually owns a hairdresser's nearby. He always tells me that the amount of money he has to pay to kind of service building and service charges is extremely insane. I myself am a freelancer, so I work freelance. 10-year lease. Wow. It must be amazing doing your own taxes and getting everything else sorted out. That's wow. I'm always very appreciative of those who can do it. I'm sleepy as hell. I woke up with a shepherd on top of me again. A shepherd, is that a guy or a German shepherd? No. I, c- well, if you need a good tax man, I think I know someone. Um, but yeah, it's amazing. I hope that was a German shepherd, Nicole. Otherwise, that's TMI, which is fine because I'm always TMI myself. So we've got that. A dog, Michael. Well, most ladies say I'm a dog, so I'm a dog. Yay. I was sitting in my mum's kitchen a minute ago eating soup and watching my cats try to attack each other. I have seven cats who basically wander everywhere. Shh. Okay, I can't. I'm on YouTube, so watch out for those spikes on the right of your head. One. You mean these? This is for like audio, so there's no audio interference. It's in a little village just outside of Warwickshire. I've never been to Warwickshire. I should. You know what? That's the one thing that I think I'm going to do this year in 2018 is I'm going to tour the whole of the United Kingdom. I want to see what else is out there in the UK other than London because I've just been in my little bubble. I've been to like several different studios in and outside of um, London. So I filmed a television show called Brothers in Arms, and that was out in the middle of nowhere, I think in Kent, which was nice. It was like a very rich family, very rich household that basically had the studio lot there. And we were filming a scene. It was for Chinese television service. Pop in and see me. I'm starting live streams from there soon. Oh, that'd be great. I wouldn't mind taking a look and seeing how the other side does their thing. Manchester is nice, Michael. Ahem. Yes, I know. I need to come and see you in Manchester, Nicole. I did promise. We're gonna go and do some nice stuff and have some of that. Was it Mediterranean or Cantonese cuisine? I plan to do a recorded stream. You should skip. Skip Rogers is the man behind the man behind the man behind the man who does all these tutorials. I should do a tutorial for you, Skip. That's what I should do. We should do something like Did You Know Gaming? And just call it Did You Not Know About Gaming? And make up a bunch of lies. Japanese, ish. Well, I'm half asleep. You got to give me a break. I've been up since like 1 o'clock this morning. Just so I had to get here in order to basically get this done. A tutorial for 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 a tutorial. But yeah, we should do like, I want to do like a Did You Know Gaming, but do it on really crude stuff. Laughing out loud, Skip. Skip's great. Skip does a skip, does a skip, does a skip. It's Skipception. Damn, you're doing what I did yesterday. Yeah, I literally got up at 1 a.m. I had to come down to the studio to basically sort some stuff out because the studio is located in my mother's place. Renee and Skip, by the way, sorry I was rude. Well, I thought you said nude. I was like, well, TMI. We should do something about wrestling, Skip. We should. Um, so basically, I had to come down, and because the studio is located in my mother's place, I basically have to make sure that I stay in this location because there's a boiler repair that has to happen. She's been living without heat for the last 4 days, and I'm kind of annoyed about that. And I've spoken with her about it, and my lovely brother has been speaking to her landlord and having a go at him and her and everybody who works for him. So hopefully that's going to get sorted out sometime today. That's why I'm here. Then afterwards, I can then probably get some sleep after the fact, but I don't know. I'm also dealing with a rather bad back because of the cold. It's still not fixed. Still not fit. And the funny thing about it is when he was talking to the person, she was just like, well, you know, these things happen. And my brother's like, look, this is the law. She's supposed to have gas. She's supposed to have heat. She's supposed to have hot water. If you don't provide her these things, we can actually put up a lawsuit. So you can either get sued because an old woman's going to get extremely sick and her doctor will be on her side about this, or you can get it fixed. So that's the choice they have. So I'm in here doing all the sitting and stuff. That's why I did I'm doing a live stream right now because I'm like, I've got nothing to do right now, so I'm going to do a live stream. Especially with my bad back today. I've got a really bad back. The problem with the cold is once I get cold in my back, it causes me to basically have an issue with said back. But still, can I say baby got back? Baby got back. But yeah, this is it's fun. I started this live stream today talking about the fact and how people don't need a crap ton of money to do YouTube videos. I think a lot of people have this misconception that you need a hell of a lot of equipment and you need a lot of money and you need a lot of time to make a YouTube video. And I'm like, no, you really don't. If you needed that much time and money to do that, then really. Hey, Michael, you're looking forward to the Royal Rumble? I am, Ron Moa. Actually, another one of my subs actually spoke about this. By the way, whoever's not subbed, click on the sub button. Click on the sub button. Yeah, and I was talking about this, and I'm saying how so glad I came across your channel. Well, as I said, check out all the other content, Renee. I think you'll like it. It's really interesting. And I also have my show reel and my host reel, which, by the way, I'm going to be updating today. I'm going to update my host reel with some of the stuff with me in front of the chroma key, doing the rather British reviews and stuff like that. I think it's going to be interesting. But yes, answering your question, Ron Moa, the Royal Rumble, I am looking forward to it. But if they end up putting someone who I don't want as the winner of the Rumble, I'm going to get paid off. If it's a part-timer, if it's Roman Reigns, who no one wants to see Roman win the Rumble. No one. If it's someone who's not Finn Balor, if it's someone who's not is not Shinsuke Nakamura, I do too. Then if it's someone who's not an up-and-coming star, like I wouldn't have an issue with Chad Gable winning because that dude is amazing in the ring. But we shall see because I loved Wrestle Kingdom. I have to admit, Wrestle Kingdom 12 was one of my favorite things to watch, but that's me. But as a wrestling fan, I enjoyed it. As a former professional wrestler, and this is the thing, can someone explain what he's talking about, please? Who do you think will win the Women's Rumble? We're talking about wrestling, Nicole. Professional wrestling. There's this thing called the Royal Rumble, which is an over-the-top 30-man battle royal. We've got a women's one this year as well, where they throw each other over the top rope. And whoever is the last person standing, and it's predetermined, by the way, whoever's the last person standing wins. It goes for the men's rumble, and it goes for the women's rumble. The women's rumble, I am going to say Asuka. There's no one else who can win that. Asuka is the only other person who could win that. And that's my take. Asuka's winning. Oh, cool. So, Nicole, how are you doing today? What else have you been up to? Have you been eating? Did you have some awesome food? Isn't it violent? I used to do it. I used to be a pro wrestler myself. My dad was a pro wrestler. My dad was a pro wrestler. He trained with Big Daddy back in the day. Big Daddy was one of the wrestlers that inspired me. Him and Hulk Hogan. I started training under Alex Shane for the Frontier Wrestling Alliance. I wrestled for 2 years, and I got injured. I broke my ankle in the ring. Big Daddy, World of Sport, Rod Mower, World of Sport. I broke my ankle in the ring. I was known as Frankie Capone. Yes, giant haystacks too. And I broke my ankle, and because I broke my ankle, I was then told not to wrestle again. But then I went, screw it, I'm gonna do it because I need to do this. I'm gonna show that I'm sterner stuff. Went in there and then had another match and then broke it off the bone. So yeah, I had a bacon joint yesterday. I'm feeling it today. I'm cooking up some Korean back and side dishes. Damn, Nicole, why don't you become a cook? Like literally, just make Korean stuff. Reminds me of Brian Pillman. He had a wreck mess. Yeah, it's pretty much the same deal, dude. I have the same deal, and it's instead of doing what Brian Pillman did, where he got himself heavily medicated and worked on the ankle, I decided to step away from the ring, and this has been. I stopped wrestling in 2002. You should train as a chef. I think that might actually be your calling. 2002 I trained, and I trained in 2001. 2002 was when I stopped, and that was because my ankle broke. And it was the same time when Alex Shane got his neck broken because he had a guy who was he was an American wrestler. Nobody wanted to work with him. He brought him over because he was an attraction, and the guy broke his neck in the ring, which wasn't fun. Dang, it wasn't for that ankle. You could have been tough enough. Probably, but I've been trying to apply for WWE jobs. I wanted to like my dream job. Two of my dream. I'm actually living my dream job right now, but two of my dream jobs are working for the WWE, believe it or not, even though they would never take me, and also working basically as an actor, which is what I'm doing now. I hated acting before I actually had partaken in it. Was because I basically ended up stopped wrestling. I was working 9 to 5 work. I hated it. Then I got an audition with Channel 4, which my brother took me to the audition. I didn't want to do the audition, but he was like, do it. They liked me. I ended up getting the part. I shot a pilot with them. Then they called me up again and said, hey, we had you for this show. It didn't get made. We'll bring you back. They brought me back. I got a bit of publicity from that. Then I ended up acting for a while, and then went to drama school because I was like, you know what, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I could cut a promo. Like, cutting a promo is easy. So I could sit there and just go like, Skip Rogers, I know secretly you're hiding something from me, Skip. But don't worry. Good things come to those who wait. And your downfall, Skip, will be the time that I will be on top. Because when we step through those ropes, Skip, all that's left will be me and you. And people will be cheering by the time I put you in that tombstone power driver. See, promos are easy. Promos, all you need is a bullet point of what you're going to say, and then you say it to people. And literally, as a professional wrestler, you say it as yourself. That's it. Literally it. Yeah, Skip, bitch. You and me, Skip. You and me. That was a joke, by the way. But yes. So, in terms of cutting promos and stuff, I used to do that a lot. But I used to do it as Frankie Capone. I used to wrestle, and my tights were literally like suit pants. And then I had like a shirt, I had the tie, I had the hat, I had everything. I was like this Italian gangster. Did you see my video where I pawned Skip in WWE? I didn't see it. I should see it. I will check out your channel and I'll make sure I sub you, Raw Moa, and I'll sub Skip. ST2K, of course. Right. I think that's it. I was going to leave, but then you lovely people came on and you joined me on this live stream. I love you all. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go and watch some Friends on Netflix. Renee, if you have Netflix, make sure you watch Friends. I love that show. It's my favorite series. At one point as a child, I wanted to actually be on Friends. Couldn't do it because the show ended before I became an actor, which was annoying. So make sure you check that out. Also, if you've just subbed to my channel, and I hope you have, Renee, if you subbed my channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff. I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with Friends. Friends is the best sitcom ever. If you don't believe, there's those who like Friends, Nicole, and liars. And most of them, I'm into the paranormal. I actually did a TV show called Psychic Private Eyes where I did a reenactment. Seinfeld's good. I like Seinfeld because it's literally a sitcom about nothing. The whole entire sitcom is just about situations that people end up getting themselves into. But I might do it. I might do a live stream tomorrow, and I'll talk about my top 10 favorite sitcoms, and we can talk about that and go in everything. I was a fan back in the day. I was a fan of Mad About You as well, which had Lisa Kudrow in it, playing her sister's character. I love Frasier as well, and because you said that, I'm going to basically start doing this. Hey baby, I'm in the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Quite stylish. And maybe I seem a bit confused, hey maybe, but I got you pegged. Ha ha ha. Well, I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. What is this boy to do? Good night, everybody. See you later.